So this is the
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart, so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free, as God has shown us by turning stone to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
But now it's got a, yeah.
We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out, and there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall. Well, let us realize, oh, that a change can only come
do you have Professor Maamar connected? Can she share her screen? Thank you very much, and if I don't see you, see you soon. Bye-bye. Please cut my mic off.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart, so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free. As God has shown us by turning stone to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Okay, thank you, sir, ladies and gentlemen, for joining the session on the future of education. May I invite on stage Professor Luis Alberto Rivas Herrero from Salamanca University. No, the Universidad Pontificia de Salamanca, sorry. I'm happy also to welcome on line Professor Haifa Maamar, Education Director of Emerging Technologies from Full Sail University in the USA. I'm also honored to have with us on stage Professor Philippe Duku Osei, Vice Chancellor, SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies in Ghana. And I'm happy to have online with us Professor Zubair Lafaj from Central Lille, as well as Mr. Amr Kotb, online Associate Director, New York Public Library. And I hope Dr. Francisco García-Peñalvo is with us. full professor from the University of Salamanca. Oh, great. So please, take a seat. And actually, Professor Luis Alberto, I would like to retain you here because I would like you to speak first. I know you need to leave very early. Okay? Do you need anything?
The presentation.
Yeah, the presentation should be online, and the green button will be helpful to move forward.
Okay. So it's ready? The presentation? So
Yes.
Okay, well, good afternoon. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the invitation, especially to José María Fuentes and the organization, Peace City Wall, and main authorities for bringing this magnificent project to this beautiful city. I hope you enjoyed your time here in Salamanca, and you come back again. Well, as you know, education plays a key role in our economies. It determines productivity, it determines economic growth, it determines employment, opportunities, standard of living. Well, I've divided the presentation in three main parts, three dimensions. The first one, the most important one, is people, how we'll be affected in 10, 20 years by new opportunities, new competitors, new agents, new stakeholders. Second part is about methodology, how methodology is changing, in fact, nowadays. And the last part of the presentation is about technology, how technology affects and will affect education, this sector in the future, mainly in the future, in the long run. Well, regarding people, there are three elements within this first part. As I mentioned, the most important part, the most important element, people, making decisions, students, they are the most important persons in this sector, education. Well, regarding students, they ask for a different education. They choose different options. New competitors, they are joining this traditional sector, more profitable sector, with more opportunities. And therefore, students, they ask for a new and innovative education. They want to choose their schedules, the time and where, sometimes mainly online. They want to choose different agents, different suppliers of education, and that's changing. Of course, will change sharply in the future, in the near future, in fact. Well, blended learning, new methodologies, diverse time and place in a digital, personalized learning and customization. So they want to choose their knowledge, how they get that knowledge, and how they access that knowledge. The second part of this first pillar dimension is about teachers, how new technologies and methodologies are changing how we teach, and especially how we'll teach in the future, not only in the near future, but in those 10, 20 years. Well, so coordinators, nowadays we teach, we talk a lot, and we explain a lot of concepts, ideas, theoretical aspects, and we are, more or less the main pillar in a in-person class that's changing rapidly, because now and in the future, mainly in the future, teachers, we will become kind of a coordinator that guides students through that knowledge. But the main character of this future education is about students, how students get that knowledge. And the last part of this first dimension, people, is about stakeholders, how private and public stakeholders make decisions in this profitable sector. Public economic agents with that specific responsibility that has to do with standard of living of people, satisfaction, citizen satisfaction, and trying to raise our real GDP per capita, and that standard of living. Regarding private economic agents, as I mentioned, new competitors joining this sector, more profitable, with high responsibility, with students, and offering, supplying education with quality. That should be like this in the future. So students, teachers, stakeholders in general, not only authorities, public authorities, governments, regional, local, and central governments, but private investors, yeah, private universities, and students, yeah, getting that new kind of knowledge. The second pillar dimension, how methodology will be. Yeah, that's something that is changing rapidly. As I mentioned, traditional, conventional class. In that kind of class, teachers, we speak those theoretical concepts. Students, they grasp that knowledge, and then there is a quiz, yeah, or an exam. That's changing rapidly. Yeah. In fact, those new participants, mainly students, but not only, they think that, well, students are the main character of this sector, and in this sense, well, we are basing that knowledge on projects, applied projects. Yeah. There are many firms participating in this sector, yeah, interacting with the students, with teachers. So is that what we call the applied knowledge, yeah? Theoretical concepts and ideas, but applied through real projects with real firms, yeah? And interconnected with reality. Regarding the exams or how we assess our students' performance, something is changing rapidly. We are testing the test, yeah? Checking that traditional way of assessing our students' performance is the appropriate. Yeah? And well, we are lowering or decreasing the weight of those quizzes and exams. Yeah? So now we assess more elements, such as, for example, active participation, attendance, participation in these real projects, etc. And the last part of this second pillar is about experience, field experience. Yeah? Our students, they ask for more real experiences in those firms through those projects, and that's changing rapidly. Yeah? And, well, mainly online regarding methodology. Many students, they are not 18 years old students, but, well, they have their job and they want to study those additional years and get that additional knowledge, and they choose this methodology. That's changing rapidly as well. And regarding the last part of the presentation, technology, how technology affects and will affect education. Well, through artificial intelligence, that affects how we teachers research, how students write their reports or essays or undergraduate theses. Yeah? This has to do with plagiarism. There are different powerful tools, as you know, regarding artificial intelligence. So we have to check that students get not only that knowledge, but they are able to be more creative, yeah, mainly. Virtual reality, augmented reality, more opportunities for students, yeah, to be closer to that reality, yeah, to those firms, not only physically, but using these new technologies. And, well, the last part of this last third dimension is about data, yeah, how we handle, retrieve, look for the data, yeah, how students, yeah, are able to handle that data and interpret data. Students from different fields, law students, business administration students, psychology students. Has to do with their ability or skills, those called soft skills, but not only soft skills, but digital and data skills. Well, thank you very much for your attention. And, well, it's been a pleasure, I repeat, to be here sharing this time with my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Luis Alberto Rivas. We are going to change the order, and I'm going to invite Professor Philippe Duku Osei to make the presentation about collaboration with development partners and the future of education in Ghana.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Philip Duku Osei, and I am Vice Chancellor, Foundation Vice Chancellor of the SD Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies. If you were a new Vice Chancellor, a foundation Vice Chancellor, and giving 14.03 kilometers of land, you are basically given a green field. Those of you who are planners and architects, there is green field and there is what? Brown field. Ours is green field because our university was set up just about 2 years ago and is fairly an infant. Even though it is a complex organization, it has bits of it that go back to somewhere in 1993, over 30 years, and has thrived under a different university called the University for Development Studies. Now, the government of Ghana determined that there will be a new university in the northwestern part of Ghana so that there will be accelerated development. So the SD Dombo University has been created specifically as a practice-based university to provide development. And I'm excited to be here, and thanks to the organizers, because we as a new university could not continue to do our business in the way the traditional universities have done it. Our oldest university in Ghana was formed in 1948, and it is 75 years old now. In terms of collaboration for the development of the university, there have been ways in which the universities of Ghana, those belonging to the public sector, have developed. So, is the reason why I have pulled this together, the necessity for public-private partnerships in the Ghanaian educational terrain. Then I do a little about an assessment of the experience so far. I also do what we call evolving a new kind of public-private partnership. Look at the policy background and see whether we have the instruments to support the development of a third-generation university. Then, lastly, I look at the evolving relationship between the Dombo University and the Peace City world. So, a little background there, basically telling about political economy, and I don't want to dwell too much on that, except to say that capital for development has not been always readily available. We have depended on a number of sources, including foreign aid and direct investment, foreign direct investment. The structures, institutional structures for PPPs. We, as a country, have learned from the international field. We have recently as 2020, just developed our first legal instrument, the Act of Parliament, the 1039, which allows us and gives us a framework for engaging in PPPs. But the universities in Ghana, as I have introduced earlier, have basically done infrastructural development and collaborated with private companies, even international companies over time. They have used PPPs to develop hostels, lecture halls, and other facilities. the universities in Ghana that have had some experience have included the University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast, and University for Professional Studies. All those are quite old. We are fairly new, and we have had to learn some lessons from there. So, what is this challenge that we have? The challenge that the SD Dombo University has is basically about developing our campus. I'll show you some maps later. It is a 14-kilometer square expanse of land, which basically is less built. We have only a few facilities on it, about 3 major lecture halls. We rent rooms and offices outside of the campus, and so we have specific need for infrastructural development. And SD Dombo University takes this opportunity very seriously indeed to have found partners in the form of the PCW has been a very good idea for us. And we have held on to this very critically. The PPPs have also evolved in the Ghanaian scene, as I have indicated. The regulatory environment, apart from the acts of 2020, has also changed significantly. And the government now encourages the university to do a lot more in terms of prospecting for their own financing for development, which then makes it useful for the SD Dombo to go ahead and form partnerships, manage long-term relationships, so that we can develop the university. Instead of over 50 years, we can do that within, let's say, 10 years, which will be a significant record in terms of Ghanaian university development. So, what have we been looking for? We've been looking for ways in which we could partner with development partners and financiers in significant ways in the development of hostels, hospitality school, medical center, lecture halls, modern library, and hydroponic farming, as have been introduced to us, estate development in terms of the Peace Village concept that we have also adopted. We also will be engaging in the concept of the industrial park and the establishment of even an airstrip, developing it further into an airport if things go very well in terms of the relationship building and development. So, the question then is, how do you develop this long-term relationship? And I understand that this relationship is not going to be the one that is just projectized. It is going to be one that lasts for over 100 years. And so, what kind of relationship do you need? First and foremost, the critical question for the university is to find out what kinds of expertise will be required in maintaining and managing such a relationship over a long-term period. We also are interested in what kinds of capital can be accessed. And in the past 3 days, we have had very interesting presentations. And one that I picked so well was the fact that in developing, let's say, a campus, a total campus, in the nature of one that I saw in Morocco, the Ifran, there's a university in Ifran, which has this kind of concept that I have in mind. But how do we structure the financing arrangements? I am a political scientist, and I'll be depending on John and Munir and others to help us find the best approaches towards developing the financial structure that will be durable and will inure to the long-term development of a university. To develop this university, not in the traditional sense in the Ghanaian way, but also making sure that we develop a university that attracts partnerships internationally. And we already have set up offices for that. An international office, because of our specific location in Ghana. We are located in a place that is very close to northern Cote d'Ivoire, southern Burkina Faso, and even Togo to the other side. And so, internationally speaking, we are at a certain advantage that will allow us to build a university that attracts international students. And we have started this process by even training some of the French students from southern Burkina Faso who are doing a great job teaching in our business school and all that. So, even though we are small, even though we are new, we are able to adopt a new kind of management which is different from what has obtained in other Ghanaian universities. And I am excited because before I joined the SD Dombo University, I helped to manage a university that was self-financing. It did not receive a cent of subvention from the government. So in the DNA of the SD Dombo University is this concept of self-reliance. And we have depended so far on our own resources from the 7,000 students that we have so far. And we are looking forward to doubling the population of the university in the next 2 years. By 2025, we should be about 14,000. And we need the infrastructure to support that kind of growth, exponential growth. And we are happy to be part of this process of which is set in place by the PCW, and we look forward to managing this relationship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we connect Professor Haifa Maamar, please?
Hi there. You guys hear me?
Hey, nice to see
Hi.
you, Haifa.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Let's check if your presentation can be shared from here or from there.
Sure. Yeah, let me know.
How are we doing on sharing the presentation, guys?
I am sharing it from my side, but I don't know if you guys see it.
Oh, please share it. Let's try.
It is sharing already.
Oh,
from
so
you guys.
now we see it. Okay, great. So
You guys see it?
technology for smart education. It's not full screen. I don't know who can put it in full screen. Great, it's coming. Great, perfect.
Is it full screen?
So Haifa, we are very happy to have you with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Can you still see my presentation?
Yeah, we see your presentation now.
Okay, perfect.
Try to move to the next slide so we see if it works. Yes, so perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for inviting me to speak at this conference. It's really an honor to be part of this group. And today's presentation, it's about technology for smart education. Just a bit about myself. My name is Dr. Haifa Maamar. I'm the Director of Emerging Technologies at Full Sail University.
Part of my job is that I oversee all the emerging tech programs at Full Sail University. Full Sail is a university here in the US, in Florida, in Orlando, Florida. And so I oversee all the emerging tech programs. I have 12 programs under my umbrella. I have the computer science, the artificial intelligence, the mobile and web, the simulation and VR, AR, and XR, cybersecurity, IT, and then the gaming programs, of course, the game design, game development, and we have bachelor's and master's programs. So the way we do emerging tech at Full Sail is that I want to make sure that our students really innovate and create new products. So the idea there is that I'm always looking for partnerships with big companies or big institutions here in the US or outside of the US. And I try to have the students work on real world projects to come up with, it's all about innovations. The way I look at it is that it's not really about doing or the old way we went or the old way we studied and we had our degrees. It's really about working on real world projects, working with companies, trying to innovate, coming up with new solutions, new technology that does not exist out there, and then that way they can always learn and add extra things for the resumes. So it's all about the portfolio they create at the end. It's all about the innovation they have, and the good thing is that it's been working fine. We have a lot of different partnerships, and you will see throughout my presentation what that is. In terms of education, I have a bachelor, master's, and PhD in computer and electrical engineering. My focus is in simulation and virtual reality, augmented reality. And now I'm looking more into smart education, extended reality, how we can have the education move from what it used to be part of what we are today, and then kind of adapt to our audience these days. So, this video is going to kind of tell you a bit about Full Sail University, and then we're going to look at how we are adapting our education. You let me know if you hear it. Okay, so this video showed some of the cool things we do at Full Sail University. It focused on emerging tech, but beside that, Full Sail is known for entertainment, media, and emerging technologies. Our student population is 18,000 online students and 5,000 campus students. At Full Sail, our mission is really to provide students with an innovative style of education. We want to focus on the value of creative thinking and the importance of hands-on experience. That's why I said the partnerships with companies and institutions is really a big thing that drives emerging tech at Full Sail. The next video, oops, is it moving? Hold on, let me see. So this next video is going to show you all the focuses or collaborations that we have with companies and institutions, and it's going to show you actually everything that we do is student project. So trying to innovate, figure out ways how our students can learn and be part of that new emerging technology and education of the future. think that that was kind of an advertisement for Full Sail, but the idea there is I wanted to show really the different collaborations and partnerships that we have with emerging tech. So, for example, you saw that there was a collaboration with Advent Health, which is the biggest healthcare institution here in the U.S. And the way we collaborate with them is that during the pandemic, they could not have their nurse and doctor students and physical assistant students go and, or physician assistant students go and practice things on campus because, of course, we were in the pandemic. So what happened is that they reached out to us and we had our students create different VR trainings and VR education tools for them, where they now students and nurses and doctors and physician assistants can log in and practice their skills using VR. So that's one idea. We have the smart lab, and with the smart lab, what we have is that we do everything smart, whether it's smart technology, whether it's smart equipment, whether it's smart homes, everything requires to be smart, and students are the ones who are creating all these different smart tools for companies or for other institutions to add them to their educations or trainings. Another example there was the Positive Cause. Positive Cause is, or SECO, is an institution here that teaches disabled kids how to work out, exercise, it's paraplegic kids, so we're trying to help them. So students created a new way, so it's kind of a ladder where disabled kids can press on them. Not only it helps them to work out, but also it helps them to communicate with the external world. So these are just some examples for how we are looking at education. But then internally at Full Sail, we're also looking at a different way to approach education, and that is through using the extended reality education. So, given that most of our student population is online, so improving the student engagement is a constant effort that we have to always think about. So online students usually struggle to feel engaged and part of the community. And of course, there is a lack of motivation, a lack of concentrations. They're not physically there in the classroom. They're not really communicating or feel that they can be part of that course. And then when the pandemic happened, of course, that created another complete new challenge. Because we went to virtual learning right away. So now not only our online students are learning virtually, but also our campus students who needed to learn virtually. So we started looking at ways on how we can create ways for student engagement and have both the campus and online students be part of this community. So what happened is that we decided to incorporate extended reality or XR in education. We quickly noticed that being able to be in VR and go in VR, that will create a new way for students and instructors to communicate together. So it fostered more opportunity to reach out, ask questions. There isn't that wall of the online anymore where they cannot really communicate together. So they felt really motivated to learn, and the tools that were provided helped them to focus more on and learn more. Part also of how we are looking at education is that we reimagined our education model. So the education model at Full Sail is focused on kinesthetic learning. Kinesthetic learning means that everything needs to be hands-on with the instructor. All courses have a hands-on component in order to make sure that our students are receiving the best experience. Both campus and online students are receive or take part of a program launch box or a project launch box. What that means is that we provide the hardware, everything that they need, and the software for each degree at Full Sail. So every degree has a specific technology or software associated to it, and we provide all that as soon as the students join the program. So this lunchbox not only includes the laptop that they use during the program, but also every appropriate software and hardware for the program. So some examples for under the emerging tech umbrella, they receive laptops, the students receive laptops, they receive a VR headset, which is the HP Reverb in our case, because especially when we're dealing with VR and XR, we need that machine needs to be very powerful, and the VR headset needs as well to be very powerful. So this video will show you Rumi, which is a VR collaborative platform that was created by a group of Full Sail alumni with the collaboration of some of our faculty at Full Sail. This virtual reality teleconferencing software allows both campus and online students to collaborate together, be part of the same VR room or virtual classroom, and learn and practice some of their skills together. So this was applied for our game design bachelor's program just to test it. And just to notice, the game design bachelor program is the biggest program at Full Sail. We have over 3,500 students, so 3,500 students. So in a regular classroom, a teacher is limited to a projector or whiteboard. However, with Rumi, which is this platform, it allows the teacher to draw in 3D, use 3D models to explain specific concepts in game design, and that helped the students to practice some of their skills in Rumi. So these students again helped, or this platform again helped both campus and online students to be part of the same virtual room, collaborate, and it really had a positive impact on these students. We noticed that students that use the virtual reality platform have perform higher academically in the week associated with the VR lecture and activity. So for this reason, we decided to include more XR education at Full Sail, and we developed several XR tools to help faculty teach and explain complex concepts. This next video is another video that we created for Advent Health. Again, I said this is the biggest healthcare institution, and they have their own university where doctors, physicians, and nurses and physician assistants, they all go and practice skills. So for this video, it shows one important task, that is how to keep a sterile zone, especially when they are in the surgery room. For them, it just helps them understand what a sterile zone is and how to always keep it, because every time they keep their hands out, this is when they have to go and wash again and get sterile again. So this is not used in our education model. It was designed and implemented by our students for another universities to help them be smart about their education and train their students in a different way. Just to note that actually with Advent Health, we created about 10 different trainings. 5 of them in 2022 won awards of best projects for education because of how much it helped and like the impact that they had on their students. So it was not an award from Advent Health, it was an award from Unity 3D, which is a big company here and it's the game engine that was used to create these trainings. And for them, that was one of the high achievements that helped education in 2022. So as you see here, I don't know if you can hear me, the blue rectangle shows when you are in a sterile zone. As soon as you keep your hands out of that rectangle, this is how you lose the sterile zone, and then you need to go and wash again. So, for this, because we noticed all these different impacts, or with these tools and these trainings, we noticed the impact that it has on our students. So we decided to do also our own tools within Full Sail. So at Full Sail, we created our VR, AR tools that we included within our learning management system. It's accessible for students within their course. So whoever at Full Sail or here in the US, we have our learning management system. Students connect to it to be able to access the course or courses that they're taking throughout their journey or their program. And for each course, we created augmented reality and virtual reality tools. And the idea there is that we're trying to teach students complex topics and make them more accessible, easy to understand, and so on. So some of the videos I'm going to show next are about different tools that we created. So the first one is the physics tool. Sometimes we notice that so this tool was created in the physics course that is taken by several programs here at Full Sail, but all the emerging tech programs. There are 4 labs in the physics course, and we have a VR tool for each lab. Some of these labs also have their augmented reality version as well. Jay Murphy, who is a faculty from the Math and Science department, created these different tools using extended reality tools to teach students different concepts in physics, like 3D motion, the buoyancy, the electromagnetic field strength, and gravity. One thing, again, to keep in mind is that students don't have to install anything. Everything has been made accessible to them from the LMS. We started using these tools at the end of 2021, and we started making a study to see how these tools are improving or helping or even impacting the students. Sometimes you may think that, yes, we're creating this, but it doesn't have any impact on students. But actually what we notice is that it has a significant improvement in submission rates for the assignment for each week that has an associated VR activity with it. Also, we noticed that for that course, there's an increase in pass rates, so students are not failing these difficult courses anymore. And then we did also a qualitative study where we interviewed several students and trying to understand what is it exactly that they helped them with the VR, with these VR tools. And what we noticed is that from their comments is that now they have a better experience, they feel engaged with the course, but also that VR tool helped them practice over and over again these skills, and they can even go back to it. Even if they were in a different course, they can always go back to it and practice again. So that helped them a lot with their study. So this is another tool that was created in our game development and simulation visualization programs. Both of them are under the emerging tech umbrella. And one thing we noticed, or the faculty or professor at that course noticed, is that students had really a hard time to understand 3D math. For those of us who are engineers or tech, we all studied vectors and 3D math in space. And these sometimes can be very difficult to understand, especially if the students are having really a hard time seeing the vectors in the space. Or performing either a dot product or the sum in the space. So Dan Mapes, who is the faculty on this video, who is also part of the SimViz program, created this vector math tool to help communicate 3D concepts in 3D environment and help the students practice these skills over and over. Actually, we noticed again, also students from the emerging tech all go back to this tool even later on because they use it if they're creating a training later on, or they're creating a game or anything that is in 3D environment. They all go back to this tool and they try to practice again just to understand again. This is kind of just a quick video about the tutorial of that.
This is the pylon race. It is a good challenge for applying dot and cross-product properties. You've been hired as a contractor to automate the race timing of a radio-controlled car racing along a predetermined path around pylons in the parking lot. This world frame represents the origin of the UHF tracking sensor. These position vectors represent the cone positions that were measured during race setup by touching the UHF sensor to the top of each cone. This position vector represents the car position that is measured in real time during the race by the UHF sensor attached to the car. This is a tutorial on how to detect when the car crosses the starting line. The starting line is an imaginary line that passes through this first cone and is perpendicular to the line between the first and second cone. Subtracting the second cone position from the first cone position gives us the direction of the second cone from the first cone. Subtracting the car's position from the first cone position gives us the direction of the car from the first cone.
And this last video is the last tool. I mean, I can go on and on showing different videos about different tools that we have here at Full Sail, but I wanted to share with you this tool that is a data visualization tool that was created last year for a competition, the Iron Def competition during the ITSEC, which is the biggest simulation and military competition, or the biggest simulation and military conference in the world. And it happens every year here in Orlando, and they have what they call the Iron Def competition that is about the most innovative solution that is created during that time. And so we created this data visualization tool with Advent Health, and it helped them to visualize. So Advent Health owns all the hospitals here in the US, or most of the hospitals here in the US, and it helps them visualize their resources and where the doctors are, nurses, how many beds, how they can move things around, if they have any ER issues and so on. It's a kind of an understanding of the data visualization for the hospitals. So this project was a virtual reality-based version of a medical command center, which is a physical space in hospitals that is outfitted with large screens and data sets where healthcare providers can visualize hospital resources and data points in real time.
Cloud at the moment. So the first thing we're going to show you is this would be a potential world map that might show the spread of the data. Right now, we're looking at the globe from a God's eye view, but I'm going to zoom in on Florida because that's what we're interested in. Since day one of this pandemic, we've been tracking the data. This data is from Johns Hopkins University. And you'll notice up to 60 days in, there's not a lot of growth, but now look at a peak at South Florida. It's starting to come in at South Florida, and as we get past day 150, it starts to grow in the Orlando, Tampa, and Jacksonville regions, and even out there in Pensacola on the wing of Florida has started growing. And as we approach today, we are still now seeing this is more the cumulative growth, but mostly the metropolitan areas have been hit. So let's talk about Orlando, which is what the hospitals you gentlemen represent, from anywhere from Apopka to Celebration. Each one of these hospitals, could you select your hospitals, gentlemen, which you represent? So what we wanted to talk about today, as you can see on your menus, we could be dealing with transferring anything from medication to moving patients to actually even possibly moving your personnel teams. But we're going to look at the ICU beds. So if I wanted to transfer beds here, I could take and move some of my beds over to you here. Okay, so I'm just going to bring up Orlando again. These are events. The red balls are the events that the people were at. The green are the people that were at the events. And the blue are the hospitals that have these people as patients. You can see that there are the various hospitals. So this would be each individual company's hospital. But if I pull on this hospital, I can see the patients in green. But I also see, could somebody grab that where the event that they were at and look at it and tell me what it is? They traced their infection to that event. So a lot of people came out of this job fair, though. This event here, what is that? IIT-SEC. I don't know. But everybody can grab nodes now, and you'll see that you can actually influence relationships in a relational database, and you can see the dependencies. If I wanted to see events that patients from 2 different hospitals attended, I could hold them in between. But we can also just see it up in the cloud. And there you...
So just to summarize, for that project specifically, we won the most innovative student project for the ITSEC and Iron Dev competition. And again, I think the idea of smart education or technology for smart education is that it has to have a lot of VR and AR tools and find ways how students can be part of that system. The whole idea is to engage the students, have them work on innovative projects and have them come up with new technology, collaborate with different companies, and I think we need to just leave the whole idea of the old education and how it used to be to kind of adapt to this new, new generation of students and using their own technology. If they're using the metaverse or augmented reality or virtual reality, education needs to adapt to that and be part of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Haifa. One quick question, please.
Yeah.
What is the percentage of your students that are not in the US? I understand many of them are remotely from the US, but how many do you have abroad?
10%.
10%, okay. And are you considering to increase that percentage, or you are?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am working on an international initiative. Given my background and given the languages that I speak, I would create more ways for students to come and study, whether on campus or online. Under the emergency, I have several scholarships. They are provide scholarships, and that can be also an can help international students come.
Thank you very much, Haifa. Any question for Haifa? Yeah, no question for Haifa. So let's move to the next presentation. Thank you very much, Haifa, for the time, and sorry for keeping you waiting.
It's fine. Thank you so much.
So our next intervention is Dr. Francisco García-Peñalvo, full professor at University of Salamanca. Please share with us your vision of the future of education.
It's a real pleasure attend the invitation to reflect about the future of education on behalf of the rector of the University of Salamanca. If we have to reflect or discuss about the future of education, perhaps we are in one of the most suitable cities, places at the world. Salamanca is the typical student city, university city, and the University of Salamanca is in the top 5 oldest universities at the world. If we want to reflect about the future of education, perhaps we have to talk about the current facts about education. The first one is the rise of technology. We are living in a digital society. Digital transformation affects every domain, every business, every person. The development of the technology is increasing every day, and this increase, this grow up is exponential. If we thought about the technological advancement at the beginning of this century, the 21st century, perhaps all the technological improvements, advancements that were produced in 2000 year were produced only 1 hour and 6 minutes in 2013, and right now about 30 seconds. We are living in a very powerful technological world. Also, all of us suffer a pandemic about corona. This pandemic, this world situation changed our reality, changed our habits, and move on more on the digital transformation of the society. One of the results of this corona related with education is the improvement or the acceptation of hybrid learning models that are very evaluate for the user, for the students. Then, after this most dangerous situation of the corona, we have a lot of hybrid situation, hybrid learning environments, hybrid learning models, just in order to allow to be involved in the studies, also making or participating in our activities. Another important issue is the people's development as professionals. We don't really know what kind of professionals we will have in 10 years. We don't know if one person only have one job during her career. Persons should be ready to develop multiple careers in a lifetime. And this is a very amazing situation, very interesting situation that is very different from our parents or perhaps we are living on. The nature of the learning in the workspace also is fully in change. Gary Bowles said that exponential change is the new abnormal. We need to see work and learning with new eyes, taking into account three different elements. Mindset. The mindset is about embrace the challenge, also taking into account lifelong learning scenarios. We also need to change our skill set. Also, knowledge are very important. Then knowledge-based skills are very important, but they are not enough. We need transversal, flexible skills that could be applied in the workplace. And also, we have to take in mind the new tool set. Digital technologies, artificial intelligence, extended reality, virtual reality are topics that are with us in every place, in every domain, in every business. Also, we are suffering a paradigm shift from the typical academic pathways. We need multiple modular pathways, micro-credentials, something like that. From loaded education, we have to move to lifelong learning education. The classroom-based learning have to move to the work-based blended learning. The technical knowledge and skills need to be improved with transversal adaptive skills. The public sector provision needs to be forward to public-private sector partnership. These are the reality we have to embrace, we have to face. And all of these facts are moving on to, we are in a very complex world and in a very complex situation. Then we have an increase of the complexity in all the learning ecosystem. These are the facts, but also we have to face the challenge. We have global challenge for education in this 21st century. A learner needs to achieve skills and to be part of a community. But these skills, this community, are influenced by different challenges that we are suffering all around the world. The first one is the changing world of work, learn to learn. Also, we have to face a demographic change. We have more adult learners needs. and we have to present or to face an intergenerational approach. Also, we have a global citizenship and solidarity. Then we have to improve the social cohesion. Also, we have to face a very important problem, especially after pandemic, the mental health problems. Then we need health prevention and recovery skills. All of this in a digital world. Then we need ICT literacy, because if we have no literacy, digital literacy skills, we have a problem, a real problem, and we create new barriers. Also, the climate crisis needs green and resilience skills. These are the global challenge for education, but as institution, each institution has to face its own challenge. University of Salamanca have to balance three important elements: quality and relevance, efficiency, and coverage and inclusion. And in this triangle, we have to face our challenge. About the offer, we have to offer a multidisciplinary academic offer that ensures quality teaching, considering educational innovation and the balance between technology and methodology. Also, we have to face the lifelong learning education. Also, we have to be involved in our environment, social, business, etc. We need to be inclusive, and we want to democratize the knowledge in an open sphere. All of that following our principles, because we are a public university. Then we need an action strategy that is related with the implementation of a complex learning ecologies. These learning ecologies are composed by a social ecosystem that in which the persons, in which the learners are involved. And these learners are interacting between them face-to-face, through technology, or with technology. Then we need to establish a technological ecosystem composed by the users, software, and hardware, and the software components are more and more intelligent and can interoperate and interact not only with persons, also with other software. This is the reality. And this learning ecology has a very specific characteristics: complexity, technology-based, lifelong learning, with more and more importance of informal learning, digital culture for collaboration, personalization, and open education. If we combine our challenge with the characteristics of the learning ecology, we have a lot of interrelationship, and we can put here our actions to be proactive or reactive, depends on the situation. Two quick examples to finish. If you want to be proactive, just in order to democratize the knowledge and also to open the education, we are, for example, be part of a new community that is Knowledge Equity Network, that is a very young network looking for equity in education, and we are going to send a global declaration for knowledge equity. Or, for example, reactive. We have to react to the new situations that technology gives us. For example, what's happening with something like ChatGPT, that is one of the most known or spoken technologies in the last weeks. Finally, the future of education vision at the University of Salamanca is ideal. International scope, devoted to fit the purpose with suitable technologies and methodologies, equitable and inclusive, accessible and open, and lifelong learning approach. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Can we connect Mr. Amr Kotb from New York? Good morning, Amr.
Good morning and good afternoon to you all.
Yeah, happy to have you with us. Well, please share with us your thoughts about the future of education and libraries, actually, whether in cities, smart cities, or normal cities.
Absolutely, happy to do that.
Thank you.
So let me just share my screen here with everyone. Okay, hopefully you can see that. All right, well, like we said, good morning for me, good afternoon for you all. Thank you very much, Peace City, for hosting me at this conference today. It's an honor to be here. It's an especially important honor for me because I studied abroad in Salamanca, what feels like a very long time ago, back in 2007. Very special city, near and dear to my heart, and I do hope to be able to revisit sometime in person. So, my name is Amr Kotb. I'm the Associate Director for Government and Community Affairs at the New York Public Library. And today, I want to talk to you about the role of libraries in today's cities. So, before doing this presentation, I did a little research on what are the challenges facing metropolitan, cosmopolitan cities in today's world. And what I mean by I did a little bit of research is that I did some Googling. And in doing so and consulting a few different sources, I came across, it seemed like there was a general consensus on these 6 issues: education, technology and data, housing, public safety, infrastructure, economic development. No doubt, I can concur that these are issues that New York faces every day and cities around the world, and certainly are things to consider when you're talking about smart cities. There is one element, though, or one variable that's interconnected to all of these challenges. And that variable, for me, is equity. So, equity is something that touches each of these issues. It asks us, when considering each of these challenges, who stands to be impacted the most by the solutions that we propose? Who are we including in the decision-making process? And how can everyone have a say in how we address these challenges today? So, naturally, this is a good spot to talk about the library. The New York Public Library was founded in 1895. It is the largest public library system in the United States. We have 88 branch locations in 3 boroughs of New York City. The other 2 have their own systems that we coordinate with closely. And we have 4 world-class research centers that cover everything from Black history and culture in the United States to performing arts and business acumen. Our collections feature 6 million items. We have 46 million in our research collections. And I bet you probably already knew that, or you had an idea of that, because that's what a lot of libraries do all over the world. But we can take a look at this cute image on the slide right now. You may think the library is a place only for books. Well, today you will learn it is more than just nooks. And that is very much speaking to the fact that libraries all over the world have become stalwart pieces to their communities through the offering of a wide range of programs and services that cover everything from career development to professional development to education. You know, I like to think of the traditional library as a place where everyone has the same equal access to knowledge. But when we think about programs and services, that's an opportunity for self-betterment and the ability to rise above your station in life. And libraries are very much involved in that, which is why we really are specialists in equity. And that's really what I want to talk about today. You know, our mission is to inspire lifelong learning, advance knowledge through free and open access, and to strengthen communities. That strengthen communities piece is especially important to equity. And equity, as we noted and established, is incredibly integral piece to addressing the challenges that cities face today. The library is unrivaled in New York City and many cities around the world. It's really hard to find a neighborhood in this super populated, super diverse, super challenged city dealing with all the challenges that we opened the presentation with that does not have at least one library in New York City. Our decentralized presence, the fact that we offer such a range of free services, that we don't ask for identification, that anybody can walk in at any time and access all of these services is truly unrivaled. You know, in my personal experience as the Associate Director on the Government and Community Affairs team, I cannot tell you the amount of times somebody from city government, state government, federal government, a wide range of non-governmental organizations has called me and said, hey, we've got this great program that's going to be excellent. It's a housing resource program, for example. We need to get the word out. We need to get people involved. Can we spread the word through the libraries? I can't tell you how many times people ask me that. And that's because we are everywhere. So let's get into some of the ways that we really do get into equity. Equity has long been a priority of the library. Like I said, communities is one of the most important pieces to our mission. But we're always re-examining equity. You know, how do we apply equity today? And I think the answer to that right now is, you know, you can't talk about equity without talking about the global pandemic that, you know, we've mostly emerged from, but we're still dealing with the challenges from. In New York City, there's been rising social and economic inequality in the wake of the pandemic. And we feel at an institutional level that the folks who have been impacted the most are youth, school-aged children. You know, here in New York, we had what was called distance and remote learning. So a lot of students were, you know, they needed to attend classes online. And not all students could do that. So now we're dealing with something called learning loss, where students in underserved, low-income neighborhoods, they have missed out on education over the past few years. And so we see our role right now when it comes to equity as putting together resources that can allow these students to keep up with their more affluent peers. So I want to talk, you know, there's a lot of different things we do in this space, and there's a lot I could talk about, but I'll just hit some highlights. You know, one thing that we revised with this in mind was our after-school model. So after school at the New York Public Library was a program where you signed up, and if there was space for you, you were entitled to a wide range of after-school programs. You know, homework help, tutoring, thinking about your future, you know, post-school plans, post-secondary school plans, etc. The problem with this was that, especially in underserved neighborhoods, there wouldn't be space for everybody. The demand was too high. And so people who wanted to be a part of this program would miss out and not be able to access those services. Well, now we've changed that. Again, thinking about the impact of the pandemic on education, on youth, we said, okay, you know what? We're going to pick 30 locations out of our 88, and they are just going to be drop-in. And what that means is anybody at any time can walk into any of those libraries, and they are in the after-school program just by being there. Another thing that we put together was our teen centers. You know, teens are at such a critical point in life, especially when we look at, again, learning loss following the pandemic and the way underserved neighborhoods have been disproportionately impacted. So we have put together specific hubs for teens. It's part of you can see the headline on the slide here. We have a near $20 million investment with Google, Best Buy, and New York City putting together these teen centers. And a teen center is a place, it's only for teens. And there are state-of-the-art recording studios where you can put together your own podcasts. There are specialized librarians who are specifically working on post-high school plans, and so many other things. I went to a teen center, I've been talking about them for like a year now, but I didn't actually go to a teen center until about a month ago. And I have to say, it felt like a teendom or a kingdom for teens. I felt very unwelcome there, I have to say, because everybody there truly was a teen. And I think that's special and unique for teens today, to have those spaces where they can gather and develop and have that same access that we talked about, particularly with the focus on underserved neighborhoods. Now, outside of youth, we continue to provide a lot of other services for adults that are still part of this approach to equity and looking at economic and social inequality right now. I want to mention something that's been in the news a lot lately. There has been a major influx of undocumented immigrants and asylum seekers in New York City. And we have a lot of different services that allow those folks to connect with information about healthcare, housing, but also about getting an identification. Because if you arrive here and you don't have documentation, how can you function in the city? And so, again, thinking about equity, thinking about making sure our approach to these solutions to the challenges that cities face are inclusive. The New York Public Library has a partnership with the city where we allow anybody, again, it doesn't matter whether they have information or not, to get a New York ID card. And once you have that, that gives you access to a lot of other things. So recently, one of our libraries was in the news because asylum seekers were lining up by the thousands outside of this library to get this ID NYC card. And that's really the story of the library. When there's a crisis, we already have systems in place where we can help manage those crises to protect some of the most disadvantaged members of the city. Lastly, I want to wrap up with a couple things on equity. I think one thing that we really need to talk about, especially in the context of smart cities, technology. So even in New York City, one of the richest cities in the world, you may be surprised to learn that 27% of households in New York City do not have internet access in them. And so that's very much part of our approach to equity. For example, I worked on a really cool project a couple of years ago. It was 2020, peak of the pandemic, summer, and we had just launched our summer reading program. Summer reading usually involves the distribution of reading kits to children all over the city. Books, we hand out books for free. We hand out at-home activities that you can do in the library. Problem was, in the summer of 2020, all the libraries were closed. So we went digital. But we knew this statistic about 27% of New Yorkers, and we knew that most of them were in underserved neighborhoods. And like I said, it's part of our mission to strengthen communities. So what we did was we found elected officials in government who were doing things like handing out food, masks, hand sanitizer in these communities. And we said, hey, what if we showed up with our books and we made them part of your distribution of what you're handing out to these communities? And that was a hugely successful effort. And that's just an example of something that we're always thinking about. Another thing with this, this is referred to as the digital divide, right? Because folks on the other side of the digital divide don't have internet access. So we launched a trial program recently where we handed out devices to folks at the library, where they could come to their local library, get a device, bring it home, and have internet access. And that's been super valuable. Two other things I want to mention. One, due to everything I just shared, and the fact that, again, we are everywhere. We're in every single neighborhood. All of our services are free. We do not ask for any personal information. That makes us really unrivaled when it comes to addressing equity and being a part of solutions. And so that's why city government comes to us time and time and time again. During the pandemic, city government used libraries as temporary daycare centers. They used libraries as places where people could get COVID tests. They used libraries as places where New Yorkers could get vaccinated. And this is a time where misinformation is rampant, right? Where there's not a lot of confidence in people going to get vaccination, but people trust their library. And so when they see that vaccinations are offered at their library, they're going to be more inclined to go there than somewhere else. The last piece is civic engagement. So for us, it's not just important that we are addressing the underserved as part of our commitment to equity in our services. It's super important that they're involved in the process too. And so we try to give citizens living in underserved communities the tools they need to understand government, to understand election processes, and to really play a more integral role in the decisions that are affecting their communities. A couple of years ago, New York City rolled out what's called ranked choice voting in our local elections. And what that means is instead of choosing one candidate, you could rank up to 5 candidates. And it was a little confusing. A lot of people didn't understand it. I found it quite confusing myself. And so the library worked with the city to run training sessions in underserved communities, in historically low turnout communities, to make sure folks understood how does ranked choice voting work. And we also sponsored panel discussions with certain aspects of the electorate that were low turnout, such as folks who were recently incarcerated. Moving forward, this is something that we're going to be doubling down on in the future. Holding community conversations in our libraries where people can come together and talk about the policies that they want to see, and having a direct line to city government about that. So to close, let's go back to those challenges that we talked about in the beginning. I really don't think it's possible to address the challenges facing cities today without making equity very much a part of the solutions. And I think that, as you may have seen today, equity is not equality. Equality is making sure everybody has the same thing. Everybody has the same access to the same resources. Equity is about finding those people who have been historically disadvantaged and catering your services to those people so that they can catch up with their peers. And I think that's something that's uniquely understood by libraries. And I think that's why there is not an institution in any community in New York City that's more trusted than the library. And I bet if you looked around in your local community, wherever you live in the world, you may find the same to be true. So what I ask everybody here is that in all of our capacities in the cities that we serve, we can remember the unique role that libraries stand to play in addressing the wicked challenges for our cities, and that we can support them in doing so. Thank you all very much, and it was a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you very much, Amr. That was great. Our next speaker actually is an online speaker, so we are sorry, Amr, but we need to change the channel. Obviously, you're already gone. Bye-bye. So, do we have any questions to our panelists? Or probably our panelists have any comment or any question? Do you have a library in Salamanca University?
Yes, we have a set of libraries. We have the old library is in the old building for our old book collections, yes. But also we have a set of libraries in the faculties. Then every campus has at least one library that is a space to study, to make, collaborate, and also to have access to the resources, to book. And also we have a digital library with digital books and digital...
Are you digitizing the books from the library, or just the new documents are...
Yes, we have a project, several projects, because we have a very huge collections, and we try to digitalize all the old ancient collection. The new collection is
digital.
Is digital. And also we have a repository in which we are storing all our production, learning objects, articles, etc.
And once the part of the library is digital, actually, you may share that asset with other universities, right?
Yes, we have.
I mean, technology allows it.
Yes. You know, Spain is organizing communities.
Yeah.
Then we are in Castilla and Leon community, and also all the universities, the various universities, are shared all the resources.
Oh, good.
By digital.
Let me check with production if our next speaker is connected. Yes? No? No. Okay. So it happens that we have a question from the audience. Please. The two questions. Good. Do we have a mic? Microphone?
Yes, thank you very much. Mohammed Karouya. I am partner and managing, founder and managing partner of a company in digital consulting. My question is, are you optimistic, pessimistic about intelligence, artificial intelligence and robotics, especially with ChatGPT? No? Are you ready? Have you changed your methods?
It's a very actual question, because I think everyone in every place is talking about GPT and ChatGPT about education. I think it's like when the calculators appears and everybody said this kind of machines are against education because you are not learning how to make a sum or a multiplication. And it's the same. We have a new tool, a very powerful tool, that we have to learn how to use. Perhaps we are afraid because we can ask to a machine that gives us the work for us, but perhaps we have to change the kind of the nature of the activities we ask to our students. Not to write only without any kind of reflection. We have to ask them that they must think about how to, or which are the questions they have to do to the virtual assistant called ChatGPT or what else, because this is a new kind of tool, very powerful tool, because behind of this tool there is a very powerful enterprise with a lot of resources, money resources, computational resources. The training of the artificial intelligence engine behind GPT is very powerful, but this kind of technology is not a real artificial intelligence machine. It uses, of course, artificial intelligence techniques, but it is based on statistical options. Then they decide what is the next word that is most probable to put in a survey. Then it's the beginning of a new kind of tools, and we have to learn how to include in our teaching and learning, because perhaps as teacher also we have to find a way to introduce in our classroom, or as students we have to use them as calculators or other kind of tools. I think the solution is not forbidden or to say these kind of tools are not exist, because they exist and everyone knows that it is.
Okay.
Please.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Not too much knowledge about AIs, but in terms of the first question regarding the libraries, my university has, well, you could term departmental libraries. The very big one that is even bigger than that of the University of Ghana. It's still under construction. And at the moment, for our 7,000 students, we are connected to the Ghana Research Library Network. We get digital materials, electronic materials that is available to students at the library through our internet backbone that we have created. So we are at the beginning, but we are working our way through. And the Ghana Research Library Network allows for sharing of material, sharing of the cost of procurement, of acquisitions, and all that. So we are hoping to build on that in the process of developing other infrastructure for the university.
Thank you. We had a second question.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias. Thank you. It was more than a question, it was an answering, because you did ask about if we do have libraries here in Salamanca. So I myself do answer you. We do have many libraries in Salamanca, many local and regional libraries. And I do miss, when I came to Salamanca, I came back home, my own town, Salamanca. I came back here 2008. And when I did go to the library, the Searles Library is really close here. It's a regional library. I do miss newspapers. In 2008, 9, 10, 11, I was able, everyone could take a paper that was written daily in English, German, Italian, French, Le Monde Diplomatique, Le Guardian, The Times, Hagen's Dagsblad. I could read what Merkel doing in her agenda. The Republican, La Repubblica, Italian, and many magazines like week magazines and month magazines like Newsweek or local and national and international magazines. So I do miss, because of funds, because we didn't get enough funds, they took all the papers, foreign papers, out of the library. So now we just can read papers from national, like El Mundo, El País, La Razón, that's it. We do not have more papers from any other countries. I do miss that. And on the other hand, something that is amazing, great about living in Salamanca, since I was a baby, a little girl, in the center of the city where I did grow, La Alamedilla, Plaza España, we used to have a bus, library bus. Every single weekend and summer, it came a library, a bus library with books inside that we could go inside the bus and sit and read with papers and touch and sit in the park and read books together with the other children. I do miss that. There's lots about technology, there's lots about education. What I haven't heard in the panel about education was why we do not try a little harder in working about the emotional part of education, because we are humans. We cannot miss that part. We are humans, we are not machines. I hope I can explain myself enough.
Yeah, thank you very much. I
You're
think
welcome.
we understand what you say, and at the same time, if you don't have any more newspapers in the library, is it more the fault of the library or is it more the fault of internet? Because actually the newspapers themselves, they have less. Mike, please, Mike, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Thank you. No, the whole thing, you can open a computer, you can read it in, if you have that technology, you can read the paper from Italia, from France, or whatever. What about if that technology follows you and is a terror so cruel that you cannot even have a telephone, and a smart telephone like that, because it's a terror against your life? What about if it's more trustable, a paper that is in paper than in a telephone?
Next call.
That's the whole thing. It's not about the phones. The whole thing about the papers. Reading a paper in Italian or reading a paper in French or in German, daily paper, that's what I mean. If today I can read a paper, what is going on in Germany, in Berlin, today's paper, the same one that the Germans are reading in their houses, or the Italians, or the French, or the British, or the Americans, is not the same that opening a telephone, than being in a library and being surrounded by your neighborhood and being able to read what is going on at home, where your friends in Germany, your friend Francesca Humbert from Heidelberg University is living, or John Peter Ripper from Heidelberg University is living. Oh, what is going on in Germany? What is going on in Rome, where Francesco Greco is living? What is going on in France, where, oh, mademoiselle, or Richard Gautier, or mademoiselle, or Chabrier? What is going on in Hong Kong? It's not the same opening a paper every day than opening a telephone.
Sure.
And especially if you know that the telephone is a gun against your life. Thank you. mbgspainblogspot.com talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we come to the end of this session. Thank you very much, dear professors, doctors, and I think we're going to move very quickly to the next session, even though I'm not sure we have all the speakers with us. So thank you.